Now it counts. Good morning. How do you do today on Soup and Meatballs? I think Tim and I are going to start talking about Tubi, or not Tubi.
Yeah, we were just talking about it off camera, so why not? Tubi's amazing, by the way.
About the rise of digital piracy due to the costs of these streaming networks going up, and we had talked. I think it was one of our Christmas shows, the Festivus airing of grievances, about how trying to watch, if you wanted to watch all 17 of your team's NFL games, you had to spend like $1,000 or something like that to do that. So but we were talking about what the Tubi network and some excellent movie options on Tubi. So after the show today, get yourself over to Tubi. I think Tubi's free for everybody, right?
It is, and Jaws is on Tubi. Last I knew.
If you have you have to have an internet.
Movie. Don't know if you've heard of it. But.
The lesser known shark movie.
Yeah, obscure little indie film. Bring the family. Good time.
I did. So believe it or not, I hadn't seen Jaws until Norm's 40th birthday party. They rented out this old school movie theater. So I went and we took Derek. This was before Maria was born, I think, which is rare. Maria's going to be 8, and I'm 47. So maybe Maria was just a little infant. We left her with grandma. I'm not sure, but anyway, we took Derek, and Jen was like a little worried. She's like, "Is he going to be okay?" I'm like, "How bad can it be?" He loved it. He went home and he started playing the Jaws theme on the piano.
Yeah. That's a rite of passage for any kid. If they're near a piano, just find the 2 lowest keys, just doo-doo, doo-doo.
Also shark. Well, there is really no good segue to actually what we're going to talk about today, so we'll just get into it.
All right.
The world of sports is like oh my goodness. Oh boy. We could be in for something. Hang on here.
Did something actually break?
No. I don't know if this is going to work or not while we're live.
Oh,
so God. We're going to give it a shot here. I don't. You got to tell me how much of this you see.
Okay. Right now, I just see the Soup and Meatballs logo.
Okay, that's a good thing. Because our super awesome graphics guy set up our slideshow for the day, but me being a dummy didn't upload it, so we're going to upload it live. And you see anything now? It's processing?
Yeah, I'm just seeing the little blue scrolly bar.
Yeah, we can go back to talking about Tubi here for a second. So this is we've hit what you've described last week as a lull in the sports world, but for me, the lull happened. I'm going to go back to June 12th, and I know you probably don't remember what happened on June 12th, but Aaron Boone gave Aaron Judge, here we go, a day off.
Oh yeah,
and since that day off, and I'm not saying he has to play every day, but ever since that day off, the Yankees are 6-15. And they've now fallen 2 games out of first place, lost 5 in a row, 3-7 in their last 10. And honestly, the only reason why they're not in third place is former Yankee Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader, now with the Twins, walked off the Rays yesterday. So Yankees and Rays are tied. And you said you were – this kind of got us into the streaming talk. You were blacked out of the Yankee-Mets game yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, what's frustrating for me is, like, I get to watch them. And I don't get to watch a lot of Yankees games. That's exactly how it comes off. I don't get to watch a lot of them. So when I do get a chance, I'll tune in. And I'm watching yesterday, and Jason Dominguez is leading off. He's got a full count, and he just whacks one. 380 feet, opens the game. Cool, leadoff home run. Aaron Judge comes up, and he hits a shot that goes over 400 feet. It looks like the Mets pitcher, Hangman, is kind of shaken up a little bit, and it looks like the Yankees can have a big inning, but then the next 3 guys, they fly out and whatever. The bottom half of the first inning, you want your starter to go out there and just get a 1, 2, 3, or at least get no runs. Well, Marcus Stroman goes to the mound, and the first pitch he throws, Nemo's right on, but he fouls it off. The second pitch, Nemo laces out to left field, so he's got himself a double. The next batter moves the runner over to third, and then Soto comes up. And I'm thinking, well, the best we can hope for here, maybe a sac fly. But Stroman gets some, it's out in front of him, throws some weird stuff, but he gets away from the weird stuff, throws him a fastball that hasn't landed yet. Next thing you know, it's 2-2, and the game feels like we're going to be in for another one of these. Dominguez comes up later, hits a 2-run homer, gets the lead back. Like, Dominguez had a great game yesterday. But the bullpen, how do they say it in Britain? They pissed it all away. And 2 homers for the Mets then, and the Mets win 6-5. Frustrating loss. And I was having a good day yesterday, and that just kind of, like, in the middle of the day, it kind of throws it up in the air, like, what am I doing, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because the Yankees, they went like a week or 10 days where they never had a lead, like they just couldn't score any runs. And now, like, I watched them the other night against Toronto where they were down 8-0, they came all the way back, and then they lose 11-9. So when they do score runs, then it's whatever, it's the bullpen, or it's this or it's that. And that's the intrigue with this Yankees Mets series, is that it's 2 teams that are desperately trying to stop the bleeding before the break.
Also in a tailspin of sorts, but what I read, the matchup being in Citi Field, it helps Juan Soto's head a little bit, because when they played in the Bronx, I think the booze got to him a little bit, and he started off. I had seen this. I didn't save this picture. I probably should have. His first 60 or 70 games with the Yankees versus his first 60 or 70 games with the Mets, whatever it is. And the OPS is way down in Queens. The walks and the power numbers are pretty equal. It's just his on-base number plus slugging, it was a big dip. But he had a big day. I think he was 3 for 4 yesterday. He hit the ball hard, and he's smiling again, which probably is good news for Mets fans. The way that the Yankees have gone the last 21 games, though, I looked this up. ESPN lists 167 qualified hitters, meaning you've had enough at bats to qualify for the batting title or whatever. The average batting average is about 260. It's .25977, so call it 260. If you take Aaron Judge out, because he leads the league, the Yankees only have 3 guys over the league average. But their power numbers are still pretty good. They have 5 guys over the average number of home runs, and they have 7 guys over the average OPS. That's how good they started the year, because you're right, in the last 20 games, they either can't score or they can't stop people. Which,
I go back to what you were saying about Soto. He's I don't know what his numbers are right now. He's right around like 20 or 21 home runs.
He's 21 or 22 after yesterday. But yeah,
he's on pace for like a 35 home run. Depending on if he gets hot.
40.
Is he going to do anything in the next 3 months that's going to make people say, yeah, that was worth $750 million?
No, of course not. I mean, outside of leading the Mets to a World Series title, I mean, I think that's the floor at $700 million.
And when you sign a contract like that, there's animosity baked into it. Where you're signing for $700 million, that's great, but the fans are saying, we're happy to have you here. Produce or else. It feels like there's been a lot of impatience and a lot of frustration with Soto in Queens, despite putting up, pretty good, solid numbers in the first half.
If you look at where they are in the standings right now, they're only a half game out. So I mean, they're right there, and in the wild, they would make the playoffs as a wild card right now. They have a 3-game lead there. Although I did hear somebody on the radio. They do hot takes or whatever. I dislike the phrase hot take or whatever. But the guy came out and said, it was on the MLB radio channel, said right now the Mets, Brewers, and Padres are in line to make the playoffs. his hot take was none of them were going to. The Giants, Cardinals, and Reds were going to be the ones to make it. And like, oh, okay. I think the Mets have a lineup that, as long as they stay healthy, they're going to keep them in games, and that their pitching has been largely a nice surprise. I think they've got a chance to catch Philly. They might be, lose on a losing skid. Back, they got swept by the Rays and the Braves. The Phillies took 2, 3, or 4, something like that. But despite that, they're right in it, and the Yankees are in it too. I mean, they'd be in the playoffs right now. I'm really bummed actually that Max Fried right now is kind of the guy, the glue holding things together. I would have loved to see him as a number 2 behind Garrett Cole.
Yeah,
to see what that 1-2 could have been like that we kind of got robbed of this year.
Yeah, and Cole is one of the, like, there are only about 5 or 7 pitchers in the game that are absolute skid busters, where it's like you can throw them out there every 5th day and have a reasonable expectation that if your team's lost 3 or 4, a guy like Garrett Cole's going to get you back on the positive side of things. So not having him has been, such a huge blow for their first half.
They have 2 5-game losing streaks in the last 20 games. A guy like Cole stops that a little bit. And it doesn't get easier. I mean, excuse me. After the Mets, I mean, they have the Mariners coming in, and then they have the Cubs coming in. So they really close the first half with some heaters. Meanwhile, on your end of things, as I was watching my game, I saw Boston had a 9-0 lead over Washington, and then they ended up winning that one 11-2. But you guys end with Colorado, which you should win all 3 of those. It's Colorado, but maybe the Rockies steal one, and a 4-game set with Tampa, which
is big.
That's those 4 games right now. If you look at the standings, Tampa has a 5-game lead over Boston in the loss column. So they're happy with a split. I think you want at least 3 if you don't get all 4.
And it's wild for Boston, to me, to even be in that position with all the injuries and with the Devers drama, and then dealing him to San Francisco. Because it really felt like ownership was punting on the season, in like mid-June. Which is kind of a foreign concept, at least it was in the 2000s and the 2010s.
When did that trade go through? Do you remember?
It was a Sunday night. If I looked at my calendar, I would know. I just know it was right before the Sunday night baseball game, because you texted me. I was like, oh, he's joking.
So the Sunday night game, was that June 8th?
It might have been June 8th.
Let me look this up here. I think it was the stories were from June 16th.
Because the Giants were the Sunday night game. Because the announcers, like, every inning we're talking
about. Okay, that was June 15th, because June 8th was the Sunday night game at Yankee Stadium. Okay. June 15th, they didn't play the night game. So if they traded him on June 15th, yeah, because the Giants series was right after that. They said if it was the first Yankee series, they kind of went on a winning streak. They had a 6-game winning streak, but after the Devers trade, losing game 2 to the Giants, there's a 6-game losing streak. Then you're 3-2, 3-3 in there. So that you had a rough stretch after the Devers trade.
Well, because I think it sends a signal that
sure.
Ownership's not serious about this season.
You guys have 2 more with Washington. Crochet pitching on Sunday, and then the next Crochet start looks like next Friday, June 11th. That's your big guy. If Bueller can get a game 1 win, and you follow it up with Crochet, then you possibly end the first half with what you're looking for, 3 out of 4 against Tampa.
And selfishly, that worked out well. If Crochet could possibly start for the AL, depending on where Scooble's rotation falls, or a couple other guys.
Let's go there, because
look at the new king of the segue.
How about that? So we have our starters for the All-Star game, right?
Yeah, I feel like the fans did pretty well.
So let's go through here. I thought I had the rosters here. Maybe I don't. You think it was easy to hit a link button?
Well, so the AL, I know obviously Cal Raleigh, who went deep again yesterday, I think.
35 now.
Yeah. Obviously, he's the starter at catcher in the AL.
Yep.
So
Guerrero's at first. His fifth career selection. Gleyber Torres is at second, which, I mean, as a Yankee fan, what's going on in our infield is whatever. Jose Ramirez, I like Jose Ramirez as a player, so seeing him at third is not a surprise.
Yeah.
Jacob Wilson, the Fortnite player from I almost said Oakland. You almost caught me. From Sacramento.
He falls into that long, proud tradition of Sacramento shortstops.
Yeah. Out in his first career selection. And then Aaron Judge, Riley Green, and Javier Baez. So a pair of Tigers flanking Judge in center.
I kind of thought Stephen Kwan was going to get in there.
I voted for Stephen Kwan. Stephen Kwan is one of those pesky hitters that it is a big situation coming up. There's 2 outs and a runner on third, and he's going to just slap something down the line and knock the runner in.
Yeah, anytime I see him play, I'm impressed with him.
Yeah. So those are your AL starters. As far as pitchers, because you had started mentioning pitchers, I saw a list of 5 possible guys who could start. Crochet and Scooble were definitely they're on the list, along with Max Fried of the Yankees.
Yeah.
And then maybe the comeback player of the year, Jacob deGrom, having a good year in Texas. And the AL ERA leader, Hunter Brown in Houston. Like, Houston just – they don't go away.
They don't. They're kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, that's
except maybe more hated because of the whole trash can business.
Yeah. Mahomes and the referee thing, there's a little bit there to it. But no, that's still a good comp. So that's our American League team. In the National League, I think the National League is stacked, man. Oh, my gosh.
The National – because the Cubs and the Dodgers are so loaded offensively?
Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 – there's 5 representatives of the Cubs and Dodgers here, starting with the backstop, Will Smith, who's out here hitting .320, his third selection here. Freddie Freeman's going to start at first. Ketel Marte at second. Manny Machado at third. Francisco Lindor at short. Like right there, that infield is just –
that's a great infield.
Wow. And then in the outfield, Acuna Jr., which is kind of controversial based on how much he's played, but he's played really awesome how he's played.
It would be worse if he'd only played a small sample and then was hitting like .230 with 3 home runs, but got voted in because it's in his home park. Like, he's a guy who is hitting out of his mind. He's making a lot of fun.
In like 17 games, he has 9 home runs or something, we said.
Yeah.
It's on an 80 home run pace. But then
PCA.
One of my favorite players, I hope he's a Yankee next year, Kyle Tucker. And Pete Crow Armstrong with his first selection. Just, I mean, top to bottom, this lineup is holy cow, it's
It just feels as a whole the National League is stronger this year because you look at DH. Schwarber. If Ohtani weren't there, Schwarber would have been the pick, and no one would have batted an eye.
Well, Schwarber will probably still
third
get picked
base,
as a backup, right?
What's that?
Schwarber will still be a backup, I'm sure.
Right, but I'm just saying that the backup would be better than the DH the American League has. Eugenio Suarez at third would have been a great starter, but you can't go wrong with Manny Machado. Alonso's having a nice season for the Mets. If it hadn't been Freeman, Alonso would have been a worthy starter. Just a lot more talented depth in the National League this season, particularly offensively, because the two best offensive teams being, the Dodgers and the Cubs.
Now, I will say, on the other hand, the article I looked at that was talking about potential starters really only had two big names for the National League.
Sure,
one of them, that doesn't get any wins because he doesn't have any run support. It's Paul Skeens. And the other one, Zach Wheeler of Philadelphia, having a really good June. I think his ERA I saw was like 0.58 or something like that. Yeah. So, one of those guys, one of the starters out in San Francisco, I can't think of his name. So I just pretend I didn't say anything.
Okay.
There's a rookie from Milwaukee, Wichamanowski, or have you seen this guy?
It's funny, and I think it shows how de-emphasized starting pitching is. That I can't keep most starting pitchers straight. They are so insignificant. They pitch 5 innings, if that. It was easier. And this is going to be an old man statement, but in the 80s and 90s, like when you had guys who were throwing 7-8 innings, complete games, like they were difference makers. I have a hard time remembering, and with Tommy John surgery, and it feels like guys reach their peak and flame out much quicker now. That's me making excuses for being almost 50.
Some guys, they get pre-Tommy John surgery. Like, they don't need it, but they're just going to get it because they know they're going to eventually. Jacob Mizorowski is the guy I'm thinking of.
From Milwaukee?
Yeah, he just lost his first game, but he is touted as, like, the next big thing. And, again, it's because of velocity. Like, this guy's touching 102, 103 miles an hour as a starter. He's thrown 8 of the 9 fastest pitches by a starter. The fact that even that is talked about, like we grew up in an era where Greg Maddux would throw 90, 91, and that's him throwing hard. And his fastball usually was around 88, but he could hit a dime from 70 feet away.
You had guys like Al Leiter was another one where they were precision pitchers. Jimmy Key, guys who could throw it into a shot glass from second base, but weren't going to, break the glass. Yeah, you're right. Like velocity obviously movement is emphasized a lot now and should be, but velocity I think is maybe a little overemphasized.
Yeah. So going into the All-Star break till we find out who the backups are, the reserves are, and the entire pitching staff. I did see an article about it was called the Stock Watch, the first half MVPs and percentage likelihood to make the playoffs. This wasn't our friends at PCOTA, it was our friends at the Worldwide Leader. And they just put this out yesterday. So I was very curious about where they had the Yankees listed in terms of playoff odds or their power rankings. Do you want to venture a guess where they put them?
Where they had the Yankees in terms of like
ranked out of all 32?
I'm
shocked.
7th.
6th. They have the Mets 7th.
Who did they have as the front runners for the MVPs?
Well, it's just team MVPs. I mean, so
okay.
The Yankees have this guy he's probably in line at least top 3 in the league. This Judge character.
Yeah, I've heard his name.
Yeah, so their number 1 team is the Dodgers, and their MVP is Shohei. Their number 2 team is Detroit.
Yeah.
Their MVP is Skubal. The Cubs come in number 3. Their MVP is a tie between Tucker and PCA. The Astros come in number 4, and their MVP is Jeremy Pena, who I guess is hurt now with a bum rib, so he might be out for a while. Phillies at 5, Yankees at 6, Mets at 7.
Giants.
I have to do I had to do a search for Boston. Boston's down at 19. They're saying that they have a 17.8% chance of making the playoffs. Their win average is about 79.8. So I mean you're right there, like wild card wise at 80 wins. And your first half MVP, not a surprise, Garrett Crochet.
Yeah.
I am curious about who they had as the Rockies MVP. Let me get down here to 30.
Hunter Goodman.
Hunter Goodman. Yeah, there it is. Pretty solid, 25 years old.
That's who I was voting for as my NL catcher. I have a soft spot for guys having good seasons on historically bad teams.
There you go. So they do say that the championship percentage, the Dodgers have a 24% chance of winning. The Tigers are at 14. The Cubs are at 12. I think those kind of numbers are interesting to look at least like right now, because we have a good sense of where we are.
And you look at this Dodgers team, like there are 4 Hall of Famers, and I feel like
4 in the lineup.
Well, and then you throw in Kershaw, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Hit 3,000 strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, this team. I think we're too close to it now, like living through it. But I think in 10 years we're going to be like, boy, how good were those Dodgers?
And if they win another, if they go back to back, then it changes the narrative. Because I think we look back at the 90s Braves in a condescending way. Like, yeah, you had all those pitchers, you had all those great teams, but
right. And now if the Dodgers win, this will be the 3rd in 5 years, and back to back.
That's dynasty level, I think.
Especially with the fact that they'd been there and lost a few times.
Yeah.
Like they're already better than like those 60s and 70s Orioles teams that won 2 titles but lost a bunch more.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, the Dodgers made my little list of major league notes yesterday for their worst loss ever. They did their worst loss ever at Dodger Stadium last night. The Astros came in and just torched them 18-1. If you saw that.
I was watching what did I watch yesterday? I watched Cubs Cardinals.
And the Cubs hit 8 home runs yesterday. I mean,
they are so much fun to watch.
Michael Busch got 3 of them.
PCA had 2.
That's good stuff coming from Major League Baseball. The last note I had, this was from earlier in the week. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see that MLB is investigating a Cleveland pitcher, Luis Ortiz, and it's based on in-game betting. So yeah. You can do this. Like in the middle of a game, you can bet. Like I think this guy's going to get a hit. I think this whatever.
Yeah. They're called like what? Like mini. I forget what they're called, but yeah, you can bet like ball or strike on most pitches, and yeah.
But like the first pitch curveball to whoever the guy like leading off the second inning was so far off the plate.
Yeah, he threw it like 57 feet.
But he's now been placed on what was called non-disciplinary paid leave.
It kind of looked like, do you remember when Baba Booey had to throw out a first pitch at a Mets game, and he threw it to someone like behind the first base line?
Still not as bad as 50 cents.
Yeah, like this pitch was suspicious.
That, we have a rapper and a radio DJ versus a major league pitcher. Yeah, the whole concept of in-game betting now is, I mean, it's dangerous. I thought, a couple years ago when the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, I was looking at prop bets, there was a bet on what color hoodie Belichick was going to wear.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, why does he just not clean up on this?
Right. Or why does he not wear like 3 hoodies?
Or just
And,
tell somebody like, look, man, it's going to be gray. Let's go make some money.
Right. And that's the thing, because we've seen this already in baseball. We've seen it in the NBA. And it's impressive how they were able to identify this as suspicious activity.
Yeah.
But it also makes me wonder how many of these fall through the cracks. It feels like it's a much more pervasive problem than we're even aware, even close to being aware of.
The Major League Baseball league minimum salary is $760,000. So the allure of
in this economy,
the quick buck. I mean, and it's just a pitch. It's just one pitch. It's not like you're throwing a whole game. But I mean, you and I both know how one pitch can kind of swing an at bat, and how one at bat can swing an inning, and how one inning can swing a game. So,
if it affects the integrity, even just one pitch, then the apple's poisoned.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a dangerous path to trod down, and we'll see if MLB gets their heads together. In the meantime, with other sports now well into their off season, lot of big headlines out of the NBA, and the first one that I saw this week was LeBron James opting in, like he's all in with the Lakers now at $50 million or something like that. I don't think he's going to be gambling on whether he misses a free throw. But the headline was, would the Lakers be smart to trade him?
Right.
What's that?
And they were talking endlessly about this on ESPN all week, and I just don't see why the Lakers would do it.
Well, are they going somewhere with him? I mean, they were the 3rd seed last year.
Right, and they brought in DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah. Did they officially sign him yet, or that's just announced? Like, they can't do anything until the 6th, I think.
Right. Yeah, so they've agreed to terms. Yeah. But that's at least an upgrade over what they had at a spot where they have need. Inside. We'll see what else they build around. I feel like Denver's gotten better. Houston's certainly gotten better.
Houston brought in Kevin Durant, and I asked you, like, what did you think of this? You thought Houston gave up a lot for him.
I still do.
I didn't see
it. Short-term move, but I think the Rockets are still going to be scary.
They kept a lot of their free agents that, at least I saw a video saying, we're going to keep a lot of them. The Kevin Durant trade is a record breaker. There's 7 teams involved in this. I'm surprised you and I didn't get a call.
Well, it's early,
Give us some time, I guess. No, that and the other big news just hit. I don't know if it was 2 days ago or when, but Milwaukee going to eat all of the money for Dame Lillard,
which is wild.
And they're bringing in Miles Turner. And look, I know the East is going to be, it's up for grabs with Boston and Indiana kind of losing some of their big pieces. The Knicks are the Knicks with their coaching, which we can get to in a second. But was Lillard that bad of an option for them? They just decided, we're going to pay you $20 million not to play here.
Well, he's getting older. He's got the Achilles that he's going to have to rehab. So that's a year that you're losing. Clearly Milwaukee thought this has been a fiasco and we're better to walk away from it, because they brought him in thinking that was the final piece to get Giannis another ring. And instead they couldn't even win a playoff series with Lillard there. So just a bit of a fiasco from Milwaukee. And now, I mean, they're taking such a financial hit on this. I wonder what this does to Giannis and his future and his confidence in his management. And does he want? Because if Milwaukee deals him, they're not going to keep him in the East. They're going to send him out west, where it's going to be a gauntlet to even get to the finals. Does he want to maybe stay in Milwaukee and take his chances in a weak East?
The thing with NBA trades is they have to work financially,
Right.
And you have to bring 7 teams in sometimes. Where out west, off the top of your head, do you think would be a good fit financially for him?
Oh man,
that I don't. San Antonio, I think, is out now. Houston's out. I don't think he's going to Denver. Dallas.
I was going to say I don't think Dallas can afford him between
I don't
AD
know.
and Kyrie. And they'll have to keep in mind, what they're probably going to end up paying Cooper Flag.
So I mean, the options for a contender kind of limited. Maybe send him to Portland.
Well, Portland. Look, if Portland were in the East, they would be a 5 or a 6 seed. But poor Portland. They got
Portland,
Drew
Oregon,
Holiday.
not Portland, Maine.
They got Drew Holiday, and the big takeaway was Drew Holiday being like, "I do not like being here. I got you a ring, Boston. Why did you send me to this hell?
Why did you do me so dirty?"
Yeah.
Oh. Well, the G League starts up next week, or is it 2 weeks? Or Summer League.
Yeah, Summer League. I don't know actually.
It was mid-July.
I've been watching.
First chance to.
Yeah, I haven't been watching other than like the off-season moves. I haven't seen too much with when all the off-season basketball starts because I've been watching more WNBA, to be honest.
Oh, there you go. Speaking of WNBA, well, not WNBA. It would have been women's college basketball. Dawn Staley not going to get the job in New York, apparently. They're going with Mike Brown, which is a lacklusterly, unexciting hire.
Yeah, it feels like when an NFL team hires Wade Phillips to be head coach, It's like, oh, okay, so we're going to go 9-8.
When you wrote to me, it was like you said it was a lateral move. I don't know what kind of changes he's going to bring, but then again, I don't know a lot about the NBA coaching carousel, like who the hot new guy would be. So at least you have a guy who's been in a locker room before, who might be able to handle New York. He might be out in a month.
Well, I think more than anything, this shows us that New York had absolutely no plan.
They had zero. It was an emotional firing, I think.
It was an emotional firing, and then they were like, okay, our first idea, wait for it, guys. We're going to go to every other team and ask if we can hire their coach.
Can I hire Jason Kidd?
Knock, knock, knock. Yeah. Hey, Nico Harrison, look over there. We want to talk to your coach.
Oh, no. So, yeah, absolutely zero planning involved there. And it was just a gut move, which whether it backfired or not, I mean, Mike Brown, at least he's been there before. So a lateral move is better than a step backwards.
Vomiting's a gut move too. Not all gut moves are positive.
But it makes your stomach feel better afterwards, I think. No, that's well. We're at that point now where if we're about 40 minutes into the show, we haven't talked about football, so we were this close to getting fined. We're continuing our series of preseason rankings going into this year. Who we feel are the top 3 at each position. We did offense the last 2 weeks, so we switched to the other side of the ball. And we're going to go to the guys that, not a lot of guys know about because they're the big uglies in the middle, defensive tackles. And when I looked at my list, I kind of put together, these are the 3 guys I want on my team in 2025. Maybe not 2026, 27, 28, but going into next year, these are the guys who I would want.
But by the way, if we do get fined by the NFL, can we start wearing headbands that say Goodell on them?
I think we should. Even if we don't get fined, that's probably a good idea.
That's what we should do when training camp starts.
I have
We'll
to go
just show
find
up
a
in
headband.
sunglasses and white headbands.
Do they still sell headbands?
They've gotta.
Maybe on eBay. Like, did
I'm
you ever
sure
wear a headband back in the day? Be honest.
I never wore a headband.
I wore wristbands.
Because I had longer hair, so all my sweat just got soaked up by my bangs.
I used to wear
Nature's
bandana.
headband.
When I was in my heavy watching of pro wrestling, I used to wear bandanas all the time. And the hometown excuse me, the hometown farmers market. You remember this thing?
Sure.
Wednesdays, my mother would take me down, and there'd be this place that sold bandanas. I'd get 3 or 4 of them every week. I still have a bunch of them, and so they're wild. They got like skulls, and I look like a pirated Hell's Angel. Either way.
I remember summer of '98 buying an off-brand Mark McGuire jersey at the hometown auction.
Yeah, they had those things too. And the best French fries in the world.
Pretty good French fries.
Yeah, they were great. But defensive tackles, I think at least one of them are going to match. I don't know about the other two. We'll see. Who do you have? Go number one for you. Who's your top defensive tackle coming into this year?
Well, this is the one that I think we match on because it's Chris Jones. It's got to be Chris Jones.
Okay. Maybe we might match on more.
What's that?
We might match on more then because he's my top guy too. He's getting older. That's the thing. Like maybe next year, but maybe not in the next 3.
Yeah, he's kind of at that point in his career where it doesn't feel like he's still in his prime, but he's so good that his like 2 or 3 years out of his prime is still better than most in the league, if not everyone else.
Yeah, and being in Kansas City, you can talk about their quarterback and their offense all the time, but he's one of the leaders on that team that without him, I think they lose 2 or 3 games that they don't lose with him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's a
valuable
tackle in the mold of like a Cortez Kennedy or a Warren Sapp. Just one of those big guys who can take up space in the line, can disrupt the run game, but he's still going to get after the passer.
And he long reach, tough to throw over the middle with him.
Yeah, just disruptive, and he has been for about 7 or 8 years. We're going to see him in Canton.
Number one, it's an easy number one. Number 2, this is where I thought we were going to match up. So,
okay, well, number 2, I went with my hometown guy. I went with Jalen Carter.
There we go. We're 2 for 2. We do this. This happens all the time. We pick the same 2 quarterbacks, the same 2 running backs. Jalen Carter, I remember when he was drafted, the Bears needed so much help on the offensive line. I didn't mind not seeing him get picked by Chicago. He was tagged as possibly the number 1 pick. He had some
off-field problems.
Draft time though, but like on the field, this kid is 24 years old, 25 years old coming into the season. He's a guy I want for 5 years.
And he's one of those guys. He might be the rookie in the last 10 years. He might be the other than quarterbacks, the rookie I was most excited to see in camp. After the Eagles drafted him, I was like, how good is this guy going to be? And I think he's got the potential to be a future Chris Jones.
Yeah,
he's right on the cusp.
And he's in such a good place for him with that defense and that coaching. I think had he been drafted by Chicago at 9, let's say Chicago doesn't trade with Philly, they take Jalen Carter, and he's in a Matt Eberflus system. I think that the Bears defense would have been so much better off for it, but then Justin Fields would have been absolutely killed, and then Caleb Williams might have broken the record for all-time sacks by a quarterback. I mean, they needed offensive line help, and getting Darnell right there, I think, was the right move. But man, Jalen Carter at 9 was a steal. Yeah,
and Carter feels just like a natural heir apparent to Fletcher Cox. Who's a borderline Hall of Fame guy, that Eagles fans loved. I think Jalen Carter has a chance to be even better than Fletcher Cox.
All right, number 3. I don't know where you're going here. You have some choices.
I had to remember. I have my little list here on the back. I have to renew my license. That's on the back of my PennDOT envelope.
I love where you put your lists.
He's a guy who I get to see fairly often, but I went Dexter Lawrence from the Giants.
1, 2, 3. Look at that. Now, Lawrence was hurt last year. He was fighting some injuries, but 12 games, he had 9 sacks.
Yeah, and it's tough when you're playing for the Giants. You're clearly, I feel like going into this season, they're the worst team in the NFC. You're playing from behind a lot. But even in that terrible situation, he's a problem, for other teams. I hate having to see him 2 times a year. I'd love if the Giants would get him out of the division. But he's elite. He's elite.
Yeah. I'll throw another name out there just to be slightly different. My family are big Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and Cam Hayward, again, not a guy that I would want 3 years down the line because he's upper 30s now,
36,
something like that. But when you think of who Pittsburgh just draft this year, first round pick Steelers, because Derek Harmon, he's another guy that, like, if you're a defensive tackle, you're drafted by Pittsburgh, they see something in you that they can pick defensive tackles better than anybody, I think, in the league.
And he's a guy who I feel like we take for granted because he's been really good for a really long time.
Yeah. So there it is. Look at defensive tackle. Next show, we'll stick around on defense. We'll find something else to sprinkle in there, but just enough NFL that we're not fine here on Soup and Meatballs. So
get off our backs, Goodell.
Yeah. Got like slow news week. So quick hitter time already. Are you ready, Tim?
I always love a good quick hitter.
We have 6 of them here. So the first one, the quick hitter is almost as much as the A block here. So number 1. Yesterday, Joey Chestnut consumed 70.5 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes to win his 17th mustard belt. Now, we've talked about this before, but I forget. So, Tim, at our eating peak, junior high school, how many Jimmy's hot dogs could you eat the right way? That means with toppings, bun, hot dog at the same time, none of this Kobayashi method.
Is there a time limit? Like, what's the...
No, I mean, like, we go down for lunch. Like, we're not going to sit there for 6 hours and watch you eat. But, like, if you're done, you're done.
Like a normal, but like a gluttonous meal in my 20s?
Oh, no, yeah, but we're going to have a contest. Like, you, me, and, like, the guys are like, all right, who's going to eat the most? So you're going to try to force them down. You're going to be uncomfortable at the end of it. You know this, but your competitive nature is kicking in. Like, yeah, I'm gonna win this. I'm
going to start at 15, but I think if I got pushed, I think I could maybe make it into the 20s.
That's incredible. 20. Holy cow.
At my peak, like 23 years old, absolutely. With
I'm
saying,
a
farmer's iced tea, please and thank you.
That's what I wrote this down. I'm saying I could have forced down 10 with no time limit, some farmer's iced tea. I was going to go 10 because Jimmy's hot dogs were thick. They're thicker than Nathan's dogs.
Yeah, they were dense.
You're going 15 to 20. That's... No wonder you can't watch this anymore.
But that's, look, I just dig deep like that.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Heart of a champion.
Next one. There was a Twitter account that I found called MLF Football, and they reported that NFL water boys, who, if you look at this picture, are more like water men, but these guys make over $5,000 per game. That means that's around $85,000 per year, not including the playoffs. Tim, my question is, what are we doing here? Why are we not spraying water into these guys' mouths?
My question is, how did the movie The Waterboy not include the line, I'm a water man, mama, not a water boy? Like, as soon as you said that, I was like, how was that not dialogue from the movie The Waterboy?
But at $5,000 a game, would you do this? I would.
It would be my side hustle, though.
I mean, An $85,000 a year side hustle. That's nuts. All right, more NFL stuff because again, we can't have enough football. According to Warren Sharp, who was somebody else I saw on Twitter, I think this might have been a Facebook thing. The Green Bay Packers led the NFL in completions last year, where the ball traveled 25 or more yards in the air. They had 22. Is that a big deal?
No, I mean,
No, you're right. No, that's all you have to say. You don't have to quantify that. No. You know how many Philadelphia had Super Bowl champs?
I think all information is potentially useful information, but I don't get much from that. Like, it doesn't tell me much about the Packers offense.
Philadelphia had 13. It was tied for 6th.
And that's with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Chicago had 10. That means 22 teams had more, but, that's fine. Kansas City, 6.
That makes sense.
That was it. 6. Nuts. All right, number 4. Here's some WNBA for you. The Indiana Fever won the 2025 Commissioner Cup Championship on Tuesday. This without Caitlin Clark, who did not play with an injury. Cup MVP Natasha Howard was recently on the Sue Bird podcast and said that Clark should lean on her teammates more when she comes back, saying, and I quote, "You don't have to do everything like you had to do in Iowa. You have great teammates and phenomenal players around you that can take some of that weight off your shoulders." Tim, what do you think of Howard's comments on Clark?
It's an odd comment to make from the reigning assists champion, that she should rely on her teammates more. Like that seems to be, a big part of Caitlin Clark's game is setting up her teammates. In fact, the first 10 or 15 games of her rookie season, Clark was let down by her teammates who were missing open shots in the lane. So I think Clark has more talent around her this year. And I think, maybe it's just the turnover on the roster that they're trying to get on the same page, because it doesn't sound like they are.
Man, the injuries, though, are that, you feel bad. Like, the injury for Clark is almost like, let me call back to Garrett Cole. It's like, if she was healthy, what if?
And it's been her legs, because she has the groin injury now. And that's such a big part of her game, is almost like Steph Curry running around screens to get open, It takes a big toll on the legs. I'm glad they're taking their time bringing her back healthy and not rushing her.
All right, number 5. News broke this week or last week that actor Michael Madsen had passed away at the age of 67. Tim, what's your favorite Madsen role?
Oh, look, it's for me. I'm a big Tarantino fan. It's gonna be Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, you want Reservoir Dogs? Okay, so I've seen Reservoir Dogs. That would have made my list, because I looked up his repertoire, because usually if something like this happens, we do a top 5.
He's great in Kill Bill.
I haven't seen Kill Bill. I'm a terrible person. Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
I have seen Reservoir Dogs, and I saw a video on Facebook that I'd say this was wild, where he does the ear thing, and he was talking about how he's being directed and how uncomfortable he was doing the dance.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, well, what song is going to be playing? And they tell him, we're going to play this. And he's like, well, just play it now. So, they actually played it for him on set, and he just did this, what he considered to be the most awkward thing ever. But what he does with the ear, like, hello?
Yeah. Like, you hear that? Yeah.
All improv. That was not written.
I think he has the funniest line in that movie when him and Harvey Keitel are about to get into a fight, and they're like face to face, and Steve Buscemi breaks them up, and Madsen just gives him this bemused tough guy look. He goes, "Let me guess, you're a big Lee Marvin fan." that just cracks me up.
You called him the tough, he had a good tough guy look to him.
Yeah, so, I was reading something about how Tom Sizemore, he got the part as the sergeant in Saving Private Ryan. That was originally supposed to be Michael Madsen. He had a scheduling conflict, so they got Sizemore, who both are now sadly passed away. And it just makes me miss character actors who they looked like guys who lived a life before they became actors. Like Gene Hackman slept on Dustin Hoffman's floor. Harrison Ford was a carpenter. Like these were guys who lived a life. It's Michael Madsen's one of those guys who was never in anyone's top 5 favorite actors, but he's one where everyone's sad when they see him pass away, and that's the mark of a great character actor.
I still do. So I looked at his repertoire. I looked at his DVDology, if you will, his list of accolades, and I was surprised at how much he worked in the last 4 years, and like how little I'd even heard of. But like the 2 movies that I would consider like, oh yeah, I remember him. It was just a bit role in Sin City, where he was like the bad guy cop.
And Donnie Brasco, I bet.
But he was Sonny Black, and there's a face there's a in that movie, somebody says something insulting to him, and he just does this. I do that. Like in my head, like somebody says something, I pull out the Michael Madsen. But my favorite line, I looked as I was looking at this, I'm like, yeah, he was in that movie too. You remember Species?
Sure.
Mid-90s.
Yeah, Natasha Henstridge.
What's that?
Starring Natasha Henstridge.
Yeah. So his line, they're starting to put this crack team together to look for this alien. He's like, yeah, no one's ever asked me to find anything they didn't want dead. And this guy's like, dude, I feel sorry for you. And he's like, yeah, that's great. I feel sorry for her. And that's that tough guy-ness that was just like, you're right. He had the look to him. So, all right, last one. Finally, I'm going to try something different. We've done this before where I'm going to play some video. But it's timely. I think that we're all better people for hearing this. And it worked because it's July 4th yesterday. Is there a better monologue in presidential history?
We will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind, that word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore.
I don't know if I'm getting any sound.
We will be united in our common interest.
Play it.
Perhaps
watch it back on YouTube.
Today is the 4th of July.
So, do you want my
and you will once again be fighting for our freedom.
I'm not a fan of Independence Day, the movie. I love the holiday.
Oppression or persecution.
This is great though.
But from annihilation.
And I love Bill.
We're fighting for our right to live.
We're fighting for our right to live, Tim.
And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday.
What Trump would say if aliens were coming.
But as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on.
Russell Case.
We're going to survive.
He would make fun of the aliens like
today.
He called them fat until they developed like an eating disorder or something.
There it is. Oh, I think that's one of the greatest monologues in movie presidential history. But
let me tell you about this fat pig Grok coming to our planet.
Rock, the Twitter AI bot.
Yeah, that's what they named it after.
Oh, awesome! All right, it is about that time. It's draft time here on Soup and Meatballs, and so we have a good draft, but I think we have the draft that we originally thought of. I've forgotten, so I didn't do any of the research on it. So I went with our man cave thing, right? Is that what you did?
Yes. Yes.
So next week we got to put this down so we don't forget. Next week we are going to draft potential names for the expanded team in the WNBA in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Our local team. So, but we're building a man cave now and we're drafting things to go in it. There's no reason why I'm shuffling our deck, but we will because it's fun. Tim, I need a number and a color, and we're going to see if the camera will adjust here to the lack of spotlight.
I'm going to go 5 red for Johnny Bench.
1, 2, 3, 4. Here's number 5. It's not quite timely. It is the first Thanksgiving proclamation. It is the Jack of Clubs. So for those of you wondering, the first Thanksgiving was 1676, looking for a way to express thanks for the good luck that enabled them to establish a community. The governing council of Charleston, Massachusetts, proclaimed June 29th as a day of Thanksgiving. This was last week.
So we landed at Plymouth Rock in 1620. The first Thanksgiving was in 1676. So that means after like 56 years, we finally went to the Native Americans. We're like, would you please teach us how to eat corn?
Wow. I mean, well, according to the playing card deck.
Well, what higher authority is there?
You're right. Absolutely none whatsoever. Now, I will say this. As I was putting my list together, I thought to myself, there should be an allowance for duplication. Each one of us, I think, deserves. You get one chip. That if I draft something number 1 overall, you can draft it 5 because it just makes sense.
Okay.
Right, and like vice versa.
Okay.
Because like my number 1, I honestly don't know how you have a man cave without either one or a series of big screen televisions.
Yeah, that obviously was at the top of my list.
Yeah, so I mean so for you to have a man cave without a TV isn't fair. It's because it's dumb.
Hey guys, come on over. I've got 100 beers on tap and an AM/FM radio.
Exactly. We can listen to Trojan Radio. My high school has a radio station that I now run. So and I remember the first time. This is a good story. The first time Jen and I bought our first big screen TV. It was a 40-inch screen, so like it's not even big by today's standards. It took us 2 hours. We were at Circuit City for 2 hours while her and her dad kind of like side by sided everything. And, you know, $2,000 was a lot of money, so it was financed and all that stuff. Now, like I walk through Walmart, you can get a 60-inch screen for $128.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I about maybe like 2 months ago, I bought one for my bedroom. I bought a TV that was barely $100.
I mean,
what a time to be alive!
What a indeed. And do you remember when we were growing up? You had one of those box TVs that was on the ground, the big.
Yeah, like the TV as furniture.
How heavy was that? Honestly, was it 600 pounds?
So do you remember Hazelton used to have like the trash, like spring cleanup, where we would put stuff out by the curb, and then people would come scavenge and take it away, and whatever was left, the city would just take to the dump. So when that TV burnt out, like me and Dave, it took both of us to carry it to the curb. And like to this day, I can remember how awkward it was to try to get it through the doorway, like from our kitchen to the garage. And then like I had to walk like backwards down the drive. It might have been maybe 500 pounds.
But that was those large wooden block things. Our buddy Danny had a big screen TV in their house, and when he moved down to Haverford, he asked me if I would help him move it. And my dad had these carts, like that he moved me and my sister into college in, and I'm like, yeah, we'll just use this cart. His TV broke the cart. I mean that sucker was heavy.
Yeah.
And getting it out of his front porch was weird and awkward. But so we bought ours. I think weight-wise, I can carry it by myself. It's just awkward because of the size of it.
Right. Yeah. I just had to get a TV out of here, and like just getting your arms around it, because I had to carry it myself, and it is cumbersome.
Okay, so I mean, TV, that's going to be my number 1. If you want a TV, you can pick it later. It makes sense.
Okay, so then I'll go with TV later, and I'm gonna take. I think this is a classic. I'm taking a pool table.
Pool table, okay.
Anytime you go to someone's house and they have a pool table, you know you're going to end up playing a game. At least one game.
Did we know growing up that had a pool table? I can think of one.
I know Sam Denke had a pool table because she had
I
a
think
rap
that's what I'm
party
thinking of.
for drama club.
I think that's who I'm thinking of because we were there for a party, whether it was a cast party or just 25 of us hanging out or something.
I'm going to say that's where we had the rap party after Anything Goes.
But I don't think a lot of there was a pool hall on
like 22nd Street,
Church and 22nd. Yeah, that we would eventually once in a while we would go to. But yeah, having a pool table at your house it hits different, I think.
Yeah, and plus I think it lends an air of class.
If it's a nice one, I mean, you can go the opposite way. You could have like the ashtray on one end and the
right. Yeah, you
cup of
can
beer on the
either
other
go
side.
like high end, like where you're drinking like a scotch and playing billiards, or you can make it like dive bar with ashtrays in the corner pockets, and Hank Williams playing on a jukebox.
Exactly. That's a good pick. Good pick. I like that. So my number 2 is I'm going to be very specific with this so as to leave something open for you. I've seen these in furniture stores before. I'm taking the man couch, similar to what Rigotti had in his place that had like the curve to it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's like the master seat in the corner that has the armrests with like all the buttons and stuff. So it looks like you are in the catbird seat of the Millennium Falcon, but you're in a couch.
See, now that's a good one. Although I might go a little differently for seating option, but that'll be later on.
So I want something that's all connected, and again, I want to be in the corner and I want to have all the buttons that I can do stuff.
Me, I kept thinking of more like leisurely activities, like for maybe it's not your team that's playing, or maybe it's at a commercial. I'm going for an at-home arcade game.
Okay, that made my list.
Either like NBA Jam or Punch Out, something vintage.
I'm down with that. Like that again made my list of, hey, let's do that. But I would have done a couple years ago, I think it was 2020, the Video Game Clubs of America raffled off a gaming table type thing, but it was built in with like a Raspberry Pi that had 75,000 games on it.
Oh, wow.
So don't give me just NBA Jam or Punch Out. Give me NBA Jam and Punch Out and
right.
74,998 other games that'll never get played.
Yeah, it's funny how much of my list is just like gaming options, entertainment.
No, I mean, so I will take that off the list. So for me, I'm going to go decorative now, and I just saw this on was it? It was TikTok, one of the social medias that I doom scroll on when I'm sitting doing my business. There's a website for you to check it out, minijumbotron.com.
Okay.
You can put a jumbotron, like a scoreboard, like at the old Hazen Area High School. You can put one of those in your house for like $3,000.
That would be cool to replicate the scoreboard from Harmon Geist.
You mean Huey McGeehan, the gym?
Well,
I mean, like it's
Cedar Street end zone.
It's a 4-sided jumbo. It's not like
like above center court.
Yeah, but it's called Mini Jumbotron, and like you can line your TV up with it. You can have like a scrolling thing of like scores on it. It's wild stuff.
Wow.
For $3,000-$4,000, which is a lot of money, but money is no object right now in the Super Meatballs draft.
Sure.
Check that out, minijumbotron.com. Whenever we're done.
Yeah, I might just want that for my living room.
It's either that or the basketball thing you showed me.
So now, if we're talking about this is a physical space that is as big as it can be,
sure.
and this is almost getting away from the idea of a man cave, but it just sounds fun. I want a laser tag setup.
Oh, all right, laser tag center. That is, I mean, I'm going to allow it because it's awesome, but that's a little. You're stretching a little, man. Like,
hey, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Your elbow's just—it's like Matsuhiro Tanaka. The elbow's just hanging on. The next splitter you throw, you might. I don't know. Have you? How much laser tag have you played in your life?
In the last 30 years, none.
None.
But
how do you know you like it?
Because I loved it when I was 9.
Oh, okay.
So how bad could it be?
There was a place here in town that. Did you ever go to Wolfie's? You know what Wolfie's is?
Sure.
So there's a Wolfie's here in town. It's called Cluggy's. They had a laser tag place, and it was. Like, Derek went and did it and asked me, "Hey, how was it?" It was okay. I don't know. I don't know how awesome that would be. I will say though, now that I'm thinking, I have a new idea, and my number 4, I'm going to go with something I think I would have a lot of awesome fun with. I'm going to say an indoor bowling alley.
Okay. Now,
which reminds me, like, oh, that's another kind of indoor thing. We'll go bowling alley.
Now, I know Daniel Day-Lewis had an indoor bowling alley, and There Will Be Blood, and it did not end well.
Not well. That's
because there was blood.
It's I imagine based on the title.
Spoiler alert for an almost 20-year-old movie, but he beats Paul Dano to death with a bowling pin.
Oh man! Well,
he metaphorically drinks his milkshake, which in Daniel Day-Lewis's mind is beating you to death with a bowling pin.
With a bowling pin.
So is that part of your scenario here?
No, really.
Okay.
I really just want the Jumbotron. Now the Jumbotron is going to be above the bowling alley, and it's going to have like one of those automatic scores, so I don't do the scoring.
And if you could do like blacklight bowling, like if the Jumbotron could do like a blacklight scenario.
Yeah, we did it. Like you do it at night, you just turn the lights out and have that. Like, yeah, that'd be weird and trippy. But I would hurt my arm. I have to get a new ball. My current ball is still the 16-pound ball that I had in college. I can't bowl more than 2 games without my arm feeling like it's going to fall off. I've got to go down and wait.
I can't remember the last time I went bowling. It's been a while. All right, let's see here. What am I going to go with? I know a lot of like man caves do like the different alcohol options, but I'm going to go with a soda fountain.
Soda fountain.
Give me my unlimited supply of like ginger ale would be amazing. Or you could do like what I used to do at Burger King when I was 6 years old and do a little bit of each soda.
Yeah, I still do that.
I do too.
There was an accident made at Mario's a couple years ago where I used to get root beer. I still get root beer. But I get a root beer and the kid put a lemon in it. And he's like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm trying to make him feel better. Watch this. And I squeeze the lemon into the root beer. Do you know what tastes phenomenal?
Root beer with lemon in it?
Yes. To the point now where if I go to Sheetz and if I'm getting a fountain drink, I will put this much lemonade over top of this much root beer. It tastes great. I can't just...
Me getting that right, do I get credit for Mr. Smarty Pants?
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. I mean, it's Mr. Deductive Pants, maybe. No, but like I when I was working at Wendy's, I discovered that what was it? Cherry Coke and lemonade tasted like, remember Lipton Brisk iced tea?
Sure.
With Frank Sinatra, that's brisk, baby. Yeah, so that combination tasted like Lipton's Brisk iced tea. I was a huge proponent of experimentation with multiple sodas. I'm with you.
You're like the Timothy Leary of soft drinks.
You got to get the good syrup though. That's
right. Yeah, I would want a top of the line soda fountain system. Regular maintenance, perfect syrup levels.
So my number 5,
and
I mean.
Let's just say this, by the way. I'm going to take TV as my 5th.
That makes sense.
We won't have to walk down that road again.
Yeah. I'm looking at your list. I'm gonna steal, I guess, the arcade system. I wrote down gaming system. Like I wasn't like super specific about it. Like the PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, whatever. So I just put gaming system. I think that's a good number 5 for me.
Yeah, I was thinking even something like an old school NES with like a projection screen.
Yeah, but like the I'm going to put arcade system for you because that's who wants just a one box thing.
Yeah,
I left a lot of good stuff on the table here.
Same.
What kind of stuff? If you had to pick again, like what else are you going for?
So I had like for the seating, I was thinking like a series of recliners rather than like the one joint couch, but like a series of recliners. And then as far as like gaming stuff, like skee ball, air hockey, shuffleboard. If you've ever been to like an indoor golf driving range, even if you're not a golfer, which I'm not, that's a lot of fun.
I've seen a baseball one of those.
Yeah, a batting cage would be fun, or like I don't know if you've ever seen one of these Pop-A-Shop basketball hoops, that you can buy for your home.
I think that would be that's a good. I actually thought that's where you were going to go after. I thought when you sent me that text, I'm like, oh, he's definitely drafting this thing.
It's on the list, but maybe that'll be a reality in my own home.
I think we need some kind of genre-specific decoration, whether it's sports or movies or if you're into comics. I thought a decorative winged eagle championship belt would be important to have. And then I kind of got meta with mine, like thinking, well, shit, like we need Wi-Fi.
True.
That could be nice. Or I wrote mini fridge bar combo, just kind of like your soda fountain.
I also thought about like a good humidor.
You'd have a walk-in with yours, or you can put the walk-in right next to the bowling alley or the laser tag center.
Or, it's funny when you said about the winged belt, I was like, what about like a regulation-sized professional wrestling ring?
So was it last week? I was at there was a convention called Too Many Games, and the Video Game Clubs of America booth was, from like me to my shed away, and you can't see that, I'm sure. But we were right next to a professional wrestling ring where they were doing. They had like a match or had something on the Saturday. I was there Friday, but I was we were selling raffle tickets, trying to raise money. And I was telling people, look, for $100, we can go in the ring and you can give me a Stone Cold Stunner. I'll take it and sell it. And I almost sold one, which would have been neat. I think we would have gotten in trouble though. I don't think they wanted the vendors in the ring. But
yeah, maybe a little bit of a liability issue there.
I signed a liability waiver, and I was joking around with one of the staff members there, telling him my plan. And I brought up on my phone, I'm like, look, I signed the waiver that's, injury indemnification. I can take a bump or two. I'd be fine.
If Heenan could do it when he was in his 50s.
Exactly. Why couldn't I? So there it is. Good draft, Man Cave draft. So you got to remind me next week, Philadelphia Lady whatever's coming next week. Top 5, though. You picked this week's top 5. What are we doing?
Yeah, I figured with the All-Star game coming up, we were going to do top 5 Major League Baseball All-Star game memories.
Cool. So and I told you my memory is so hazy. I thought of 2 of them, but then I looked stuff up. I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. I remember that. So I've got a good list. I've got 5, and did I rank them? Yeah, I think I actually did. So yeah, so there's that. But I went first in the draft, so however you want to go with yours, Tim, lead us off.
So my number 5 is my least memorable. 4 immediately came to mind for me. I had to think a little for number 5. But the All-Star game where Cal Ripken went deep in his final appearance, some people think Hideo Nomo might have grooved the pitch in there. I think he did, but nothing wrong with that in an exhibition. But, a good memory, great player. Get to see him, take Nomo deep and get to go out like a Hall of Famer that he is.
That 2001?
Yeah, I believe that was 2001.
And was that was the year that Alex Rodriguez was voted as a shortstop, and he was like, let's trade places.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the nice gestures, I think, on A-Rod's part. And I was interning at WNEP that year, and I remember cutting those highlights together, and the Ripken home run was a big moment. So that's a absolutely solid pick. I'm going to start off with like my number 5th, and I think I put these in terms of like my favorites.
Okay.
So maybe not memorable. This is memorable, but in 1993, this is exactly how I wrote this down. Randy Johnson makes John Kruk piss himself.
Oh yeah.
So he takes his hat, he takes his helmet, and he puts it the other way. And he was going to bat righty because Randy Johnson pitching to a lefty was scary, and he threw it like 2 feet behind Kruk's head, and he didn't smile. But Randy Johnson didn't respond with. He looked like he was no joke, man. So.
And then the next 3 swings from Kruk.
Oh, so bad.
Just garbage swings. He just wants out of that batter's box.
Stepped in the bucket, and the slider might have been 6 feet off the plate, and he was still like, "Get me out of here."
And I think on strike 3, if I remember right, like he swings and even spins like after he misses.
He throws the bat, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my number 5.
That's a good one. Number 4, I loved the '89 All-Star game where the American League opened with Bo Jackson going deep, and then they go back-to-back when Boggs goes deep. And Bo was the MVP. I believe they played in Kansas City because he put it out in the water.
They did, and I'll just kind of cherry pick on you because this is number 4 for me. Ronald Reagan was actually in the booth.
Yeah,
I watched the video of this, and Ronald Reagan is talking about this guy he's got an interesting hobby. He plays football, and I know a little bit about football. He's going to talk football, and then Bo just unleashes one, and Vin Scully's like, Bo Jackson says hello. He cranked like 460 feet dead center.
And I just remember watching that live as a kid and being like, because back then I don't think, if you're not our age or older, you don't realize how infrequently you got to see someone from the Midwest or West Coast. Like you only got to see Bo Jackson in highlights, or if they were playing in a national game. So you might see Bo Jackson play baseball 5 times a year at most, if he didn't go to the playoffs, less. So to see Bo Jackson, it really was a showcase to be like, oh my God. And then for him to do that and crush one as the leadoff batter.
And that pitch was not a good pitch to hit. Russell put one down by, like, he was on his shins. And it was like a golf swing, but it was a shot.
Well, and, Bo, struck out a lot, but he was also a great bad ball hitter.
So that was my number 4 as well.
Okay.
We're 1 for 2 together, I guess.
So should I go with my number 3?
What do you got for 3?
It was a debacle at the time, but it's a good memory now. The tie ball game. There's no tying in baseball game.
They ran out of pitchers.
They ran out of pitchers, and I just remember the cameras turning to Bud Selig and him just looking like he was having like a 30-minute Malox moment where he was like, I don't know.
What am I supposed to do? Let's make this game mean something next year, and this won't happen again.
Like what a just absolute encapsulation of his ineffectiveness as a leader to just be like, someone make a decision. I don't know. And it was his home, wasn't it in Milwaukee?
I don't remember. I think was that 2002.
It was either 02 or 03, and
I think it was 02.
For some reason, I feel like it was in Milwaukee.
Brooks, President Scroob and Spaceballs. Somebody make a decision. I'm a president.
Yeah, and I remember I was at the paper at the time. We were holding for the game, and so then it's tied, and there are no pitchers, and we're like, well, someone make a decision because we have to send this to the press.
The fine people of Bloomsburg need to know who wins this game.
Yeah,
they've done it sleep hours
people still
ago.
Got their news from the newspaper.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely I tried to go with happy memories. I definitely remember that, and I think my number 3 was in the same game, but it was earlier on. This was back when Barry Bonds was just cranking home runs at record paces, and he lit one up into center field. But Torrey Hunter went back and he brought it back, and this was maybe like the first time Barry Bonds actually smiled at somebody, and like he went and he gave him a tackle. Give him a form tackle. It was actually pretty good. I think Massey would have been proud of him. But like that robbery was it was kind of neat to see, and it was a really good athletic play. If you know how high those fences are, home run robberies are incredible plays. You don't see them very often, so when you do, I tend to appreciate them.
I think the average fan underrates how difficult it is to rob a home run.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely one of those things people say I could do that, right. And I was one of them until I did the Yankee Stadium tour, and like so, if you remember what old Yankee Stadium looked like, they had the numbers 314 out in right field.
Yeah,
I put my hand straight up, and I'm a short guy. All right, I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day, depending on the doctor.
And you're probably hitting the bottom loop of the 3.
I couldn't even hit the bottom. Yeah, so I would have to have a 12-foot. 14-foot vertical. That's me jumping over a basketball hoop,
and that's not even to take into account to track the ball.
Yeah,
and not break your neck running into the fence.
So, yeah, Torrey Hunter doing that in an All-Star game, that was pretty cool.
That was a pretty cool one. I have a feeling that my number 2 might also be on your list. It was one of the great baseball probably the best baseball season of my life to that point. The 1994 season. And it gave us a great all-star weekend because there's the home run derby at Three Rivers where it was Frank Thomas and Ken Griffey. And it gave us the extra innings game where Moises Alou drives in Tony Gwynn in the 10th after McGriff tied it. Just, the whole
American League fan, that sounds terrible.
Well, but just for like the whole first half, having built up to so much intrigue with the Expos and the Yankees and Griffey and Thomas and Matt Williams chasing Roger Maris and Tony Gwynn chasing 400. And that felt like the true cap to the season because then they go on strike in August.
Because it was, yeah.
That is the unfortunate highlight for what could have been, an all-time baseball season.
I think the whole the strike thing kind of, I try to wipe that out of my mind, but I remember highlights of the you said it at PNC, the Pittsburgh All-Star game that it didn't make my list. I took home run derbies out, but like the one that one of the big ones I remember, Josh Hamilton at Yankee Stadium at 27 or something. His first round was just amazing. When you said chasing Maris, that kind of triggered something there. My number, what are we at? We're at number 2.
Number 2.
2. So my number 2 is 2013. It was Mariano's final All-Star game, and he gets in the 8th inning. And the reason why Jim Leland comes out and says he wanted to make sure Rivera got a chance to pitch in the game because if the National League had rallied against a different pitcher, they wouldn't need to pitch in the 9th. So they let him pitch the 8th at Citi Field, and he gets a 1-2-3 against 3 bums in the 8th inning of an All-Star game. But they largely gave him the MVP it was a token. You're retiring. We're going to give you a chair made of broken bats and the All-Star game MVP. But he did get a 1-2-3 inning out of it. So I thought that was a nice memory that I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I feel like everything with the Mariano farewell tour was handled so well. Like he might have had the best farewell of any legend of our lifetimes. Where between that at the All-Star game and his final appearance, is it Jeter and Jorge? And,
I think it was Pettit took him out.
Yeah. So that one didn't make my list, but mine tend more to when I was a little younger. But that is a good one, especially as a Yankees fan. My number 1, probably a no-brainer for a Red Sox fan is when Ted Williams,
The whole 99 one.
the whole 99, when Williams throws out the first pitch, Tony Gwynn helps him out of the cart. Pedro's the starter. He
Pedro
lights out at his absolute peak.
Yeah.
And back when, this is steroids era, where he's going against
McGuire and
McGuire and Sosa
and Bonds,
Bagwell. Yeah, just Piazza probably. I think was in those first. He only threw 2 innings, and I believe he struck out 5 of 6.
I think he struck out 5. Yeah, I was gonna say. It didn't make my list, but if I had to rank impressive All-Star moments, that's probably number 1 for me too.
It's like the way that my grandfather talked about Carl Hubble at the 1934 All-Star game.
And Gehrig and Fox.
Yeah, and Joe Cronin. That's our Carl Hubble moment. Except Pedro in 1999 is the best I've ever seen a pitcher throw a baseball.
No, you won't get much argument from me. And the whole Ted Williams being at Fenway, that's a worthy number 1, absolutely. My number 1 is the reason why this person was my favorite non-Yankee for a long time, and he only stopped being my favorite non-Yankee because he joined the Yankees in 2000. The thing was revealed in 2008, but Ichiro started giving inspirational speeches to the American League All-Stars in 2001. It was described as being the greatest inspirational pregame speech since Rockney invoked the Gipper, one laced with so much profanity in English that all of the first-time All-Stars were like, wait a minute, he speaks English? And what's he saying? and David Ortiz came out and said, that's why we win. So Ichiro's pregame speeches are my favorite All-Star memory because it was reported as this little slight Japanese slap singles hitter jumps up on the bench and starts yelling profanities at the American League All-Stars. I want to see video of this. Before I die, I just want to see Ichiro cursing at Derek Jeter and Cal Ripken and all of the guys.
Have you ever seen the video of Ichiro telling Bob Costas what his favorite American phrase is?
No.
It's so filthy I cannot say it. You'll just have to look it up.
That sounds like something post-show viewing. Absolutely. But yeah, so July 12th, the All-Star game, right?
Yeah, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. So from Truett, so it's not in Atlanta. It's where the Braves play, but they play in there's grand viewers. I looked it up just so I knew the name of the field, Truist Field. Maybe we'll get some good memories for this year.
I hope they do something cool with the freeze. I hope they have a celebrity beat the freeze.
I just saw a female cop
who
beat him pretty handily.
Yeah.
He is almost like Mr. Smarty Pants, where he needs some redemption, hardcore.
I did all right last week with Yoko's.
You kind of got some redemption last week, and this week, I'm telling you, it's going to be tough. I don't like your chances, honestly. But I have 2 questions and a list. You know
who else didn't like our chances? The rest of the world, July 4th of 1776. And I think it worked out pretty well. Come on, everyone. U.S. No?
No. So the questions and the list are kind of inspired by the 4th of July, so you're in good shape there. But they're inspired by something that you don't have a lot of experience with because you don't watch it, and I do, and it's disgusting, and I think it's fun to watch. The first question, Tim, the first Nathan's hot dog eating contest was held in 1967. And it was won by an American, Walter Paul. Now, this is all according to the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Wikipedia page. Don't at me if, I get some of these wrong. This is on the internet, so it's got to be true. So the first hot dog eating contest was won by an American named Walter Paul. He's a 400-pound, 32-year-old truck driver. The contest was actually held on June 30th, which was designated as the 100th anniversary of the invention of the hot dog. But whatever. The question, in 1967, how many hot dogs and buns did Walter Paul eat to win the event? I will tell you the event had a 60-minute time limit.
18.
Wow, that is impressive. No. He ate 17.
Oh,
wow, that is.
right.
So you're off by 1. That is incredible. Good for you.
The spirit of revolting America.
Yeah, I mean you're crossing the Delaware here almost. Question number 2. Since the event went to 10 minutes, so I mean it was 60, then it was 12. They've settled on 10 minutes though. So in a 10-minute span, what is the fewest amount of hot dogs and buns consumed by a Nathan's champion? So to win the event, what is the fewest that a champion has consumed?
37.
Now you're way off. I'll give you one more guess.
Am I way too low or way too high?
Way too high.
22.
In 1984, Birgit Felden, a 17-year-old competing against 20 men and 3 other women, wins the event. She was credited with 9.5.
Weak.
That won the event in 10 minutes. And you're telling me you can eat 15 or 20 Jimmy dogs? Oh, no, man.
That's like when the Rockets won the title when Jordan was out. Like,
yeah.
9 hot dogs. 9.5.
Well, that's kind of like Pete Bertoletti last year when Joey Chestnut was out. Speaking of Joey Chestnut. Joey Chestnut holds numerous eating records. The fact that we have eating records in this world is one thing. But I have, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 choices here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to track how well you do.
Okay.
Let me get my trusty sheet open. I have the right answers, and I'm going to put your answers next to them. We're going to see what the delta is. All right, whatever the difference is. So the first one, what is Joey Chestnut's record for eating hot dogs in a 10-minute span?
67.
67. The actual answer is 83. He set the Nathan's record at 76, but in a separate event against Kobayashi, he ate 83. All right. The next listing of food. In 10 minutes, how many Twinkies did Joey Chestnut eat?
Oh, my God. Those are so light. What about like 125?
Wow, incredible. The actual number is 121.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're off by 4 there. I'll take that.
USA.
Next one. In 10 minutes, I have no gauge on what the size of these things are, so they're probably just standard. How many grilled cheese sandwiches did Joey Chestnut eat in 10 minutes?
40.
That's not bad. So 47 is the actual number. 6-inch Philly cheesesteak hoagies.
Oh.
So, I mean, again, I don't know if it's with or without or whatever. It just said 6-inch Philly cheesesteaks, 10 minutes.
6-inch. It can't be more than like 4.
It is, in fact, more than 4.
Ugh.
23.
Ugh. Gross. It's not even food at that point.
I don't think we're talking food
like
here at all.
Pig. Jeez.
This one is the one that got me. Glazed donuts.
They're fairly light. 10 minutes?
8 minutes. 8 minutes.
8 minutes. I'll say 100 I'll say 98.
98. No, the actual number is 55.
Oh, wow. Less than hot dogs.
Well, the glaze just would be like. I'm I guess more in tune with this because Derek eats a lot of donuts. Yeah. So like I will eat some donuts on. I'm surprised we haven't gotten them yet. Maybe we did through DoorDash. And the glaze just like I can't eat so many. Like one of them in my stomach is like, okay, you've had a donut now.
Do they have doctors? And this is a serious question, like because that's so much sugar, or like all the sodium with hot dogs. Do they have doctors present? I
hope. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know Major League Eating was a thing until just a couple of years ago, and I looked it up, and like, there's records for like most mayonnaise eaten. Like, and like, look at, I like mayonnaise. I can't eat 8 gallons of it.
Like, if you were to drink like a couple gallons of water in an hour, you would risk like health problems. Like, you can overhydrate. And that's water, let alone eating 75 hot dogs.
Yeah, so that's a lot of sodium, a lot of.
Yeah, a bit of sodium.
All right, we're halfway home. So now, in 8 minutes, how many traditional tacos did Joey Chestnut eat? 8 minutes, traditional, like the 3-inch shell.
95.
95. You're closer there. It was 126.
Okay, I feel like I would destroy tacos.
6 minutes. Now, see, now with this one, you're not only fighting your stomach, but you're fighting your head. 6 minutes. How many ice cream sandwiches did he eat?
6 minutes. 41.
That's one of your closer ones. 25 and a half.
Okay.
And I think you're fighting the
brain freeze.
You're fighting the brain freeze. Yeah. So. Okay, something that this must have been just how many can you eat, because it tracked him in 38 minutes and 15 seconds. So 38 minutes and 15 seconds. How many Big Macs did Joey Chestnut eat?
38 minutes.
38 minutes of Big Mac eating.
Let's say he starts at a pace of 2 minutes. I'll say 29.
29 is actually really close. The number's 32.
Okay. I was like, if you eat 2 every 90 seconds to start, and then maybe start to slow down towards the 35-minute mark.
Which seems to be how he does it. I mean, yesterday, if you watched, he was on a record pace through the first 4.5 minutes. I think he had like 43. Like, he was on a pace for like 90, and he finished with 70.5. So
I mean, that's probably just like the philosophy of shock and awe your system before your body can even realize how full you are.
So the next two, the final two, are not in amounts.
Oh, gross.
I couldn't figure it out. So the record is in pounds. So you're looking to come to the nearest pound. How many pounds of bologna slices did Joey Chestnut eat? So, and these are all records now. It's not just, an average day at the Chestnut House.
All right. And you said there's no time limit on the bologna?
No, this was 8 minutes. These next two
minutes.
are 8 minutes. These are both 8 minutes. But there's no, I don't know how many slices it is. They just tell me how many pounds. And I didn't try to convert how many pounds is one slice.
I'll say like 3 3/4 pounds.
So 3.75.
How bad is this?
Wait till you hear this number. 15 3/4 pounds of bologna.
Get out of here, Joey Chestnut. That's disgusting. Go see a gastroenterologist.
Do you know how much bologna that is?
That's too much bologna. Literally and metaphorically, that is too much bologna.
He was full of bologna that day. Yeah. So
you only made this themed question so you could say that, didn't you?
I just thought of it now, but yeah, it works.
Let me see. Is that written on your palm?
Last one. And this is, I love this appetizer. I could eat a bunch of it. I don't know if I could eat this much.
And a moose bouche.
How many pounds?
16 pounds of mozzarella sticks to wet your palate.
No. This is actually more palate cleansing, I think, than mozzarella sticks. In 8 minutes, how many pounds of shrimp cocktail did Joey Chestnut eat?
All right, the man ate 16 pounds of bologna. So now you're asking me how many pounds of shrimp the man ate?
That's what I'm asking.
12 pounds.
12 pounds? Really?
12 pounds. What do you mean, really? Like, as if you're like, you underestimate the man. That is, he should die.
21?
Like, there's a kid in Haiti crying over these stats. This is a sin. My God.
Listen, I'm totally with. I understand the gluttony of it, but let's track how you did. I have to change some of the negatives to positives so that I can do the auto sum. In total, you were off by 159.5. The biggest one was the donuts. You were off by 43, but I mean, you were right there on two of them. You're off by 3. You're off by 4. You can't feel bad about that, I don't think.
You know, I'll take that. That was that was an honest performance.
That's that. So the build your squad segment, I see this all the time on TikTok, and like I want to do this with you, but I don't know how to do it. So we're gonna do something here for the first time on Soup and Meatballs, and I've tested it before you showed up, and I think it works. So I'm going to try to share my screen here.
Okay.
So if I click share screen, tell me that you see what I'm showing you.
Yeah, like a color wheel.
Yeah. All right. So here's what I see. There's this guy on TikTok who finds people at the beach or at the playground or whatever, and he's like, we're gonna draft a team. So Tim, you are going to get the first spin.
Okay.
And so we need a point guard. We need a shooting guard. We need a small forward. We need a power forward. We need a center. So you're going to get the first spin. I'm going to get the second spin. And it's all time. So whatever. And if you pick him, I can't pick him.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So here we go. The first spin. For you're building a team here. You get, it looks like the Phoenix Suns. So anybody who has ever played for the Phoenix Suns ever.
Okay. Do I only get what they did with the Suns or their whole career? Fine. Then I went Durant.
You went Kevin Durant. All right, so we'll put Kevin Durant in there. Makes sense. And we're just going to hit close. We don't remove. So for me... Stay on Lakers, stay on Lakers, stay on Lakers. Oh, no. Memphis. Boy, he gets Memphis a lot. And I'm going to need your help with this, as I don't think... Was Zach Randolph a Grizzly?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take Zach Randolph.
Okay.
Which is... Not ideal, but that's me. Okay, so you're up now.
Okay.
And you are gonna get, is it Toronto? You're gonna kill me. You get Toronto.
I'll take Kawhi.
Yeah, I mean, he always finds his way onto your teams.
Look, when he's healthy, he's among the best.
And you put him with Yoda and Obi-Wan, and he beats the Monstars. Okay, I can live with this. With Milwaukee, we're going to take Kareem at the center. You're up. Spin 3. You need a point guard, a shooting guard, and a big man. And you got Utah.
I'll take Stockton.
That took you a long time.
Well, I was trying to think if there were other people who, like, part of me wondered if I should have taken Olajuwon from Toronto, since I'm getting his whole career and not his, running on.
No, I think you're fine with what you got so far. My number 3, Spurs. Yeah.
Well, you got a couple ways you could go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take Duncan, and we'll put Duncan at the 3.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think Randolph is still like a better 4, but just I don't know. All right, you need a shooting guard and a center, and you got the Sacramento Kings.
I'll take Mitch Richmond.
Mitch Richmond from those 90s Kings. I need a backcourt. And it looks like I'm going to get Penny Hardaway. So, yeah, we're going to take Penny. Player 1.
Not Scotty Skiles?
No, he went crazy the second half that one time. All right, you need a big man. Oh, wow. Come on.
Yeah, I'll take Mr. O'Neal.
Which one are you taking?
I'm gonna take Shaq.
You're gonna take Shaq over
Will.
Over Will. That's fair. And my shooting guard, if I don't get the Bulls, I have no chance of winning this game. And the Bulls just went by. The Denver Nuggets. I'm gonna take Carmelo to play. I mean, we have a very big team.
You do. You have a lot of size.
But as far as we back together here now on, I think.
I see us, and then the build your squad logo.
You pulled out Stockton, Richmond, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Shaquille O'Neal. I got Penny Hardaway, Carmelo Anthony, Tim Duncan, Zach Randolph, and Kareem. The guy who does this, some of the guests he gets, they're remarkably. They don't know what they're doing, but it's a good time. I watch him every time.
See now, if I had taken Akeem instead of Lent Wound now, I could have taken Kobe as my shooting guard, but I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, that's the cool part about the spinning thing. So TikTok has a filter where it just goes through all the logos.
Right.
I'm like, well, how can I duplicate that? So I had to type in manually every single team, which I did. I copied and pasted. I found a list online. So. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought something was coming out, but
oh no.
I don't know if I could. I wish I could save this so that we could do it again without me having to type it all in. Maybe I'll put it in a notepad file.
Yeah, that would be fun to do with like baseball and football.
He does this with football. He says they draft a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, and a defensive player.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
It's shocking to me. Like the first spin, people will get the Raiders, and they're like, Bo. I'm like, you realize Jerry Rice played there, and he's the greatest receiver ever. And Jim Harbaugh has more rushing yards than Bo Jackson. Like,
yeah. I mean, Bo played, 4 seasons in the NFL?
Yeah, but they were exciting seasons. So, whenever I see the basketball one, I've seen Portland picked a lot, and I've seen Clyde Drexler drafted once in like 50 videos. It's amazing.
Who do people take instead usually?
Dame Lillard. Because they need a point guard.
Right.
Or they think they need a point guard, and they think they can get a better shooting guard later, but they end up with like Devin Booker.
Yeah, historically, I mean, if you're looking at like elite shooting guards, I don't know. Like you're going to find a lot more depth for power forward, center, and small forward. I feel like.
Yeah, and what I see online, what I see on these videos, a lot. It's recency bias. A lot of it.
Sure.
Which I mean makes sense. I mean, you went out and picked John Stockton, and you could have had I don't know,
Andre Kirilenko.
Well, They had a good point guard after Stockton. I can't think of who he is though.
Darren Williams.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of. Williams.
Yeah.
The Jazz also had Pete Maravich.
Sure.
Donovan Mitchell.
That Malone fella scored a couple points.
A little bit. I think Durant and Leonard, though, in your front court it's a good team. I don't know.
Yeah, look, Durant and Leonard, I think, are both top 35 players.
Well, I tell you, did I miss anything this week?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot of bases.
Slow news day. We hit a $1.55.
And we're less than 50 days until college football.
What's the rest of the weekend hold for you?
I might go see Monty Python and the Holy Grail. They're showing it at the local theater.
Like a second run theater? That's cool.
Yeah, no, at AMC theaters, I think, are all showing it this weekend. Or no, wait, maybe they're showing This Is Spinal Tap.
It's that. I've seen ads for that.
That's what.
So it's like one weekend only, or like one day only. Maybe it might only be today. This might be your only chance.
Yeah, well, because a lot of movies. Because then next week is Superman, the new Superman movie, and then after that's Fantastic Four.
And I don't know. I have little interest in Superman, and I think I have less interest in Fantastic Four.
That's how I am with the Jurassic Park movie that just came out.
How many Jurassic Park movies do we need before people need to realize these things don't mess with dinosaurs?
They're not changing the formula at all. Like, isn't it just like an excuse to see dinosaurs kill people for 2 hours?
You could say the same thing about the Saw movies. That formula was, and Jen and I were just talking about this yesterday. How it's hard because we were talking about Michael Madsen. I think the list that we were talking about today. People don't trust, or like movie executives don't trust that they're going to make money with blockbusters anymore. Because why do I want to go to a theater? Why do I want to spend $35 for tickets and popcorn? I'll just wait 20 minutes and it'll be streaming before you know it. So they're doing these rehashes that they know people are going to want to go see. And I said, yeah, sometimes that could backfire on you, though. Like if they ever did a rehash of the Goonies, I might join the revolution. Like if somebody's like burning down Hollywood, I might fly out there and join in because like there's some stuff you just don't mess with.
Yeah, like I remember when I went to see Thunderbolts and like all of the previews were like Jurassic Park, Tron, Karate Kid, like Mission Impossible. It was all just like existing franchises.
Now, did you watch any of the Cobra Kai stuff?
I did.
Okay, so I mean, Cobra Kai originally started on YouTube Red.
Yeah.
Remember that? So like I never saw it, but then when it hit Netflix, I'm like, all right, I'll watch this. Now we grew up in the Karate Kid era. Like if you didn't know what the Karate
Kid, fun movie.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't know what the Karate Kid was, you didn't want one of those cool headbands.
If you never tried the crane kick at recess.
Oh yeah. How many hamstrings were pulled? Like I watched it. I'm like, okay, this is an interesting arc where they're going. When did you stop? Because I remember asking you if you watched it.
Maybe after 3 seasons, where I was like, how many kids at this high school know karate to like a ninja level that they're throwing each other through plate glass windows at least once?
As a high school teacher, I can tell you that is exactly what fights are like in the school.
Yeah,
they are
look. I remember what they were like when we were in school. Everyone
well organized,
was at least a black belt.
Exactly, like. When Rob Crash is talking about the flying helicopter spin kick to the head, he's not lying. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like the story that they put together was entertaining.
It was really fun for a while. The
nostalgia they brought in with some of the old characters, fine. The fight scenes got overly just ridiculous. I don't know if you saw the origin of Cobra Kai, like where the snake imagery came from.
No.
That's cool. I mean, you can go just watch that episode or watch that scene on YouTube. It's cool imagery. I won't spoil it for you. But I watched the last season really late. Like it hit, and then I might have waited months before I'm like, well, I have really nothing else to do. I guess I'll watch it. And I got through it, and I'm done now. I don't need another movie. And I don't know if the movie picks up. Like now they have Ralph Macchio with Jackie Chan. What are we doing here?
Yeah, and it's funny. Like if you would have told someone in 1984, like this fun little sleeper hit from the, this underdog movie from the guy who made Rocky, and it's going to star the guy who played Arnold on Happy Days and some unknown kid who was in The Outsiders. It's a cute little karate movie. And within 40 years, it's going to be a franchise that spawns like a TV series.
6 movies.
6 movies. And Ralph Macchio, like this will be like the one role that's propping up his career in 2025.
Jaden Smith is a Karate Kid. They had the female Karate Kid. Like, I saw this thing on TikTok. They ranked the American Pie movies, and I'm like, really?
They're all the same movie.
There's 10 of them. But like they don't have all like the original characters. It's just like they become, I'm going to stick the word American Pie on this movie. We're going to get a bunch of, hot college kids drunk, and they're going to do crazy stuff, and people will come to see it.
Right, because they would do like direct to DVD, like with like Stifler's brothers going to college now or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's the formula. That's the formula. And I don't know. I guess I'm just past it. I'm easy to entertain. I really am. But I mean, Jen and I like the Saw movies. Like I'm twisted like that. I can tell you the original Saw movie is a more of a psychological thriller than it is torture porn. It's become that. Like, oh, people want to see the traps and people's arms get ripped off and whatever. The first movie was tremendous. It really was. If you haven't seen it, I mean, give it a shot. I mean, it goes downhill after 3. Like the story they tell, the arc of 1, 2, and 3, I like it. I understand what it became after that.
That's
the last movie. Go ahead.
That's kind of like the trajectory with Jaws, where it was like a serious movie. Like, yeah, it was a blockbuster in 1975, but it's this classic film that was sort of like each iteration in the series became worse and worse to the point where, like in Jaws 4, it's like, wait, so the shark has like a grudge with his family and followed it to the Bahamas? Like, we're granted, and also the shark died in the first movie. So who's the second shark and third shark and fourth shark?
Just a shark.
That's carrying out this blood feud with the Brodies.
It can't be worse than Sharknado, right?
Jaws 4 is pretty bad.
Sharknado, Jaws 4? I haven't seen Jaws 4, so I can't.
Here's the thing with Sharknado. It's trying to be bad. It's camp for camp's sake. Jaws 4, they were like, no, this is a real movie we're making. That's gonna, people are gonna pay money to see this, and we're gonna take their money.
We're gonna.
I'm gonna make this movie, and you're gonna give me money to watch it.
In the boardroom, we had this robot shark. Yeah, the first one might have blown up, but that's funny. That's funny. No, I don't think I'm gonna go to a movie tonight. I don't know what's on deck.
Well,
it's a nice
Yankees
day.
Mets.
What about that? I'm trying to have a nice day here.
Right.
What time do they play?
I think they're 4:30 or 4.
They're the 4:10 game, and
I think Pittsburgh's a primetime game on Fox.
Carlos Rodon and Freddie Montas. So another former Yankee. I mean, Freddie Montas comes in with a 6 ERA, a WHIP of 1.5. He's going to throw 6 innings, and we're going to get 2 runs off him. There'll be solo home runs. Bellinger will hit a home run, and Judge will hit another home run.
Yesterday was, I believe it's the 42nd anniversary of Dave Righetti throwing a perfect game on the 4th of July. He did it against Boston.
It was the 4th of July, so it wasn't. I don't know what year it was.
I thought it was 83, maybe, but it might have been 84. But they beat Boston.
884 sounds more. It was. Yeah, you're right, Jen. 1983. First no-hitter since Larson's perfect game.
Wow.
For the Yankees.
Right, but still, like, to think that, like, Guidry or, like all through the 60s. I mean, toward the end of the 60s, they got pretty bad.
I mean, Ron Guidry in '78 was as unhittable as they came.
What was he, like 25-3 or something like that?
7.3 ERA at 1.7, 250 strikeouts in a that was a lot. But yeah, it was Righetti's perfecto in '83, the first one since Larson.
Not perfecto, no hitter, but
yes, since Larson's perfecto. I mean,
right.
It is scrambled, but I mean, if I'm around at 4 o'clock, I might be napping. Maybe I'll take a nap, and my phone will ding 6 times. Ding, ding, ding.
Yesterday,
Mets run. I fell asleep, and then my dad called. My dad went down to my sister's house, and he called saying he was leaving. I'm like, okay. I was like half in a daze. I don't think I got it. And my phone is ticking me off. Let me tell you, how is this? I'm here in my house. I have 1 bar of like phone service. 1. It's like I'm roaming. Remember that?
I do. It's funny. I was rewatching an episode of The Sopranos, and that was like a major plot point.
when like Paulie and Chris were out in the woods.
Well, yeah, that one. But the one I was watching was Tony was out on his boat, and he's like, "Call failed, no service." And that's only like, well, I was gonna say it's only like 15 years ago, but that's closer to 20 years ago now.
Yeah, that. But I mean, that's back when I leave my coverage area and my phone starts a little flashy sign that used to drive me nuts.
Yep.
I've had situations where I'm in my basement and I go to SOS mode. I didn't even know SOS mode was a thing. But it is. So frustrating. Oh, what kind of emails do I have? Oh, I got my eBay order. That's good. MLB. Oh, see that. Okay. We talked about that a little bit already. Oh, it's that person's birthday coming up. Okay. So, all right, man. Well, how's the bladder? Is it about that time?
Yeah, I think it's bladder time because I just
usually
made my way through 32 ounces of water here.
Yeah, how we end the stream here. So without any further
we have to start
coolness,
the stream here.
There's soup on Meatballs.